What's going on, homies? Welcome to the Cracked Soccer Podcast, episode number 19. 19. In today's episode, we'll cover this is Brazil. Brazil has showed up to the Club World Cup. We'll also discuss the Gold Cup with some interesting games going on there, as well match day 20 of the MLS. You won't want to miss it. Check it out, the Cracked Soccer Podcast, episode 19. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Boom. Only two of us today, man.
Only...
Mr. Last Place didn't wanna show up today.
No, I checked his location on Snapchat before this, and man is just chilling at home, saying he's driving back from Boise or something like that. But I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
We don't believe him, man. He just didn't want to show his face. We won't go too much into the leaderboard here today, but leaderboard. Just kind of like looking at how many picks we have correct from last week. Obviously, there wasn't any MLS action this last week, so hopefully this week, we can kind of get some picks right, get some picks for the whole team here. But I'm sitting pretty at top with 116. Just saying. Lopez, you are very close behind with 111, so you are in second place, my friend. Fern is falling behind, just to say the least. He's at 101. Needs at least 10 to catch up to you. Needs at least 15 to catch up to me. That's why he's not here today, ladies and gentlemen. That's why
we also got to pick opposite what Fern picks, man. We have the code right in front of us. So
yeah, exactly. He just gets them all wrong. So that's the thing that we got to do.
It's a poor guy.
Exactly. We'll get our picks in this week, kind of get that thing going, get the MLS going. It's back on track this week. I believe it's match week 20. It could be 21. I don't remember exactly. But we'll kind of get those picks in. We'll send them off on the Instagram and on the TikTok. So, let us know how we do and let us know how the leaderboard is shaping up. Let us know in the comments.
Hell yeah.
Bang, bang. So that's the quick leaderboard update. And then going right into our correct performances of the week. Bam. I can kick us off. I'll kick us off really quickly here, Lopez.
Yes,
so real quick, man, look, back performances, it's going to be a little bit interesting, okay? A little bit different than what we usually do, just because there wasn't a lot of MLS action. Obviously I can't give too much credit to the MLS, so I'm going to have to go a little bit outside and kind of give some respect where it is needed. So, to start, for my correct player of the week, it's not going to be a player, which is a little disappointing. There were some great performances. Get it. A lot of different players kind of had some good games against in the Club World Cup as well as the Gold Cup. Miguel Herrera. Miguel. El Piojo. El Piojo Herrera. My guy, I gotta crack one open for you, my guy. He is right now the Costa Rica head coach. He has been the Costa Rica head coach as of January 7th of 2025. So just this year, fresh, brand new. He's doing pretty well. I mean, he's not doing a bad job. I don't think anybody expected him to do a pretty bad job because he has been a pretty good coach. He primarily has coached La Selección El Tri, Mexico. And he did a good job coaching against them in this last game on Sunday against Mexico. They ended up drawing 0-0. A lot of different things kind of came up in that game.
Come on. What kind of things came up in that game? Mexico won that game, man. Mexico won that game. We were robbed.
I agree. 100% agree. That was not offsides. So it was they've had no era penal y no era fuera de lugar. I mean, that's how it is.
These refs hate to see us winning. That's all I'm going to say.
But hats off to Miguel Herrera, El Piojo, and Costa Rica. They're doing well. I mean, they've qualified to the round of 16. They've been playing very good soccer, winning the first two games and then tying against Mexico, basically having the same amount of points, heading out of the group stage as Mexico, which is always a top team to watch. So good on them. Good on the Costa Rica team. The interesting part here now is going to be how they go up against this U.S. men's national team, because that is their next challenge. I believe the game is next Sunday, but who knows? Can they compete with a U.S. men's national team that has been okay, has been good? I think most people would kind of give them a B plus kind of on this last from the last three games. But again, Costa Rica red hot in this tournament. So, hats off to them. Cracking one open for you guys.
Just always think about that one Miguel Herrera gif of him like going buck in the rain. I think it was during those penalties, bro. I remember watching that. It's so good.
It's infamous.
No, yeah, it's just it's when he was with Club America, no, during those penalties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so.
That's what's up. Good gif. You should look that up.
Yeah, for sure. So good on El Piojo and Costa Rica. Good for you guys. Now for my correct game of the week. Eso es Boca, loco. Ese es Boca. Boca Juniors showing up to the Club World Cup. Y'all have been amazing to watch, amazing to see. Not just the team. I mean, the team has been okay. I mean, at the end of the day, they didn't make it to the round of 16. It is what it is. It's okay. But this fan base, man, this fan base is absolutely amazing. They're absolutely love this team. They'll die for this team. They have some of the greatest chants. And the thing that I love most about it is that we here in the United States is kind of getting a front row seat as to what, this game truly means to, not just, Boca Juniors, but just kind of like South America in general. And you can also say, obviously the European leagues have been great as well. Their fans have been showing up too. But Boca Juniors, and as well as a couple of the other of the Brazilian teams, they've just been showing out. Their fans have been showing up. It's been exciting to see everywhere you look, social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, like they're there, right? People are kind of watching these guys doing these chants. So I'm going to have to give it to every single game that Boca Juniors has been playing and their fan base, because they've been electric, even though they've been losing / tying. Y'all have been there. Y'all be supporting. So good on y'all.
Love me a good fan base.
You seen any of those? Have you seen the Boca fans?
I was trying to look some up because I haven't seen the hype. You must be on the wrong side of TikTok.
Yeah, I've been like so deep into it because, obviously with the TikTok, with the Instagram, I just kind of have so much soccer stuff in my feed all the time. So I'm always seeing like what's going down. And Boca Juniors, dude, they're loud, they're proud, they're happy. I've seen a lot of different, kind of videos on them, like little memes people have been making about them. So, it's been exciting to see.
I'm watching the video right now. That's nuts. Go look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Fan base. It's been you're showing now. It's a party.
Yeah, so good on them. So good for them. They get my correct game of the week. And then lastly, man, for my pour one out, LAFC, Seattle Sounders, got to pour one out for you guys. Unfortunately, they are the only two MLS teams that did not go into the round of 16. Very sad. Very sad for not just the two teams, but just kind of the league in general. The only team that has qualified up to now is Inter Miami into the round of 16. So hats off to you, Miami. Way to go. But, just to start, man, Seattle, you lose, what was it, 2-1 against Botafogo in Lumen Field. You lose 3-1 against Atletico de Madrid in Lumen Field. And you also lose 2-0 against PSG at none other than Lumen Field. 3 games in their home turf and 3 losses. How unfortunate. Talk about home field advantage. They ain't got none, and especially not against these teams. Granted, it's Atletico de Madrid, it's PSG, great teams in Europe, Botafogo. Every single one of these Brazilian teams have been showing up. They've been playing very well. They're obviously on to the round of 16. But dang, man, you guys couldn't even, get one win. You guys only scored 2 goals. So really nothing to celebrate there. And y'all kind of had that whole thing at the beginning. Hey, we deserve more. Sure, we'll always kind of, vouch for players and their rights and everything. But dang, guys, get a win. Come on. As well as Seattle, LAFC. What are you guys doing? Y'all have also lost 2 games. At the time of this recording, what is this? It's Tuesday, almost 7 o'clock. So LAFC is about to kick off here in about 10, 15 minutes. So, that third game is going to be underway here soon. But they also have lost 2 games. First game against Chelsea, they lost 2-0. And then the second game, they lost to Esperance or Esperance. I don't even know how you say it. They lost 1-0. And this team is from Turkey or Tunisia. Tunisia? I believe it's Tunisia. Esperance. I think everybody expected them to win this game, but they did not. They lost 1-0. Now, at least LAFC can't say, hey, we've had home field advantage this whole time. I believe they've played, they're playing in Florida today. I think they played in Nashville one of these games, and they played somewhere else this other game. So they haven't been home. They haven't been home whatsoever. But just such a letdown from, two top teams in the MLS that can't even get a win in the Club World Cups, which sucks. So pouring one out for Seattle and LAFC. Such a letdown.
Yeah, especially when you look and see that these are the teams representing us on the world stage, like here, the MLS on a global stage. It's kind of even more unfortunate to know that we're still that far behind. But hey, man, who knows? These teams can show up. We have even talked about Miami. We're missing Fern. He's our go-to Miami person. But and also how much of that is dependency on Messi? Man, I wish Fern was here so we could talk about this. But how much of that is that dependency on Messi, right?
Yeah.
Like putting these darts in. I don't know. The man's still the GOAT, but will Inter Miami, my question will remain the rest of the season. Will they be relevant going into next year or whenever Messi retires? I'm saying he's done after this year, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
And also, Esperance is a Tunisian team, by the way.
Tunisia. Okay. Mm. Yeah. I believe it was something like that. It had like a T in it. I wasn't sure if it was like Turkey or whatever, but yeah, good on them for beating LAFC. So it's been such a whirlwind. Like so many teams have beat these teams in these leagues and that league, and it's just been nuts. So yeah, unfortunately, LAFC Seattle, they are out of the running. Maybe next 4 years. In the next 4 years, they can also qualify, but I doubt it. But those were my performances. Next up, Chino, Pizzi, Lopez. Let us know.
As Dominic Toretto once said, "This is Brazil." Man, Brazilian teams showing out this Club World Cup, continuing the theme of Brazilians showing up for the Club World Cup. Flamengo FC, coached by former Chelsea defender Felipe Luis, showed up against Chelsea in their Group D battle in Philadelphia this past Friday. So Flamengo got that 3-piece fish and chips, man, coming back from a first half 1-0 deficit to give them the blues, man, to give Chelsea the blues.
I like that. That's funny.
Bro, had lots to celebrate with 2 Brazilians scoring in quick succession. The boys Enrique and Danilo scored on the 62nd and 65th minutes. Nicolas Jackson on Chelsea got probably pretty upset about that because he had gotten a straight red card after a studs up challenge 3 minutes after the 2 goals. And then Wallace Jan out there for his team, sealing the deal with his 83rd minute goal. Putting them 2 goals ahead of Chelsea with 7 minutes left in regulation. So I was looking up a couple facts as I was looking at a couple of things to call out here on the podcast. One of the things that I found interesting was with Flamengo's win, this is the second time a South American team has defeated a European team by multiple goals in a FIFA international club competition, and the first since Vasco da Gama's 3-1 win over Manchester United back in 2000, so 25 years ago. So history was made there with Flamengo's win. Overall, pretty even game. If you look at the stats there, Flamengo had 13 shots with 9 on goal to Chelsea's 11 shots, but only 4 on target. And yeah, just was able to keep on the pressures. Like you called out here in 8 minutes, 6:52 Mountain Time. We're going to be keeping an eye on that LAFC versus Flamengo game. Should be a fun game to watch. So that is my correct game of the week. Starting off with that, switching it up a little bit.
All good, yeah.
Looking at I already opened mine. Correct player of the week, our guy Phil Foden. Again, this is a little bit of a different week. Foden. See, a little bit of a different week though, because MLS, right? What we saw here in the Club World Cup. But as I was looking at a couple of the top performances from this week, Phil Foden, thank you, was fun to watch. Apparently, this is a great redemption arc for the man. He was getting a lot of flack. A lot of people were giving him trash talking on him online, as people do, because he had decided to sit out. And he's also had some hate over some inconsistency from what I was seeing. So what some of those numbers are: last season he contributed only like 15 goals in 45 matches, which goal contributions, not just goals, because if we're looking at goals, that'd be 15 goal contributions over 45 matches, and he just decided to opt out from England's recent international games and only returned just now for this Club World Cup. So and it was a great return for him, and he had assisted and scored a goal on Manchester City's 2-0 win over Wydad. Wydad, you're going to have to correct me on that one. Wydad, AC?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, he cracking one open for Phil Foden, calling him out right here. Great game. We'll see if it can come like if he can keep it up, right? That's always the question with great comebacks. You always wait to see if, hey, is this a consistency? Is this going to be a consistent theme from this player, or are they just going to fall off again and everybody's just going to start roasting him online? And
Yeah, no, that is interesting. I like Phil Foden. I think he's a really great player. Obviously he can kind of get whatever he wants from people kind of over there in England. They're always going to talk their stuff. But man, he's come such a long way too, just kind of being from, I believe he's like a homegrown. I believe he's, local to Manchester. He kind of came up with their academy and everything. And, I remember watching him when he was barely kind of coming into the first team, and he was rough around the edges, right, to say the least. And then all of a sudden, like after a couple, few months, years here and there, like his game completely changed. And I think he's an awesome player, great player. So I'm just happy that he had some success here. And I believe he can continue to have some success in this tournament. So good on him, man. I love that. I love that player.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't heard a whole lot of him. Like I said, I very rarely follow soccer, football in general. So it's been fun to learn and see and get to know some of these players a little bit more. So
yeah.
Looking at my pour one out, moving on here. This week I am pouring one out for PSG. So why am I pouring one out for PSG? PSG hadn't lost in any competition since May 3rd and had outscored their last three opponents by a combined 12 goals, 12 goals, and winning the French Cup and the Champions League along the way. Up until this game with Botafogo, right? Like we know that they're a good team, but PSG had scored in 19 consecutive games, and the last time they were shut out was against Liverpool during the Champions League. And while PSG was out there looking like a bit of escargot, the Brazilians continued to show out in the Club World Cup, and this time in the way of Igor Jesus. He scored a goal in the 36th minute there against PSG, which was the first goal allowed by them since May 17th. So,
damn. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. PSG has been out there indestructible. Again, what goes up must eventually come down, right? And PSG, not saying that they're down and out, right? Like you can have a bad game, you can lose a game. It's nothing. You just got to shake it off and just keep performing. But it was cool to see that, like we've been talking about these Brazilian teams showing out, but got to pour one out for the boys there in PSG.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Like I mean, PSG, like you mentioned, what a season that they just had, just kind of winning the tournament that they've never won, right? The Champions League, they win that, and it's obviously hats off to them. Like that's not an easy thing to do. And then they win. The league, the I believe it's the French league, and then I mean just you just never know who can kind of come out and kick your butt, right? I think that's kind of what's the beauty about sports, and just kind of why we I like to watch them too. Is that it's just kind of that saying of like any given Sunday, any given day, anybody can beat you. If you don't bring your best, if you don't kind of focus and understand kind of what's at hand, you can get whooped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Fern's little indoor league team could beat you, like Chelsea. And just give him one day, bro, out of maybe like a couple hundred games, and things are not, or maybe 1,000 games. I don't know.
Probably more like 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We'd see. They could maybe win one.
You never know.
We need to check in on Fern and see how my man's did this past week. I think. Oh no, he's playing today, and
he is playing today.
And he played last week too. Yeah, he plays every Tuesday. So go cheer your boy on. Cheer him on in the comments below.
Bang! There you go.
Bang, bang.
Nice. Anything else from that one, or
no, man. Just if you wanted to look at a couple of those stats with that PSG game. 16 shots, only 2 of which were on target for PSG, which is nuts because they had 75% possession that game. Comparing that to Botafogo's 4 shots, all 4 being on target, but only 25% possession that game. So I don't know, man. I didn't watch it. I don't know if they parked the bus on them and once they got that goal, but yeah, man.
I've noticed these Brazilian teams have very strong defenses. And it is interesting to watch, and it's an interesting set that you mentioned, right? And we've brought it up a couple times where, there's a couple games where you see this team and they just have so much possession and they have so many shots, but they don't win the game, which is crazy. Right? But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, yeah, you need to score goals. You need to have a strong defense and everything else just to kind of win a game. But a lot of these Brazilian teams, I mean, it's not like they've been blown. I don't think any of them have really been blown out whatsoever. Like a lot of them kind of hold their own and don't really, allow too many goals. And typically you see that a lot from, the Italian leagues. Like if you think about the Serie A, like a lot of that whole league is very defensive. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you look at, Premier League, Liga, La Liga, things like that, super offensive. Like let's just keep the ball, let's just attack, attack, attack. And then when you're met with a team like Botafogo, Fluminense, Palmeiras, like dude, there's a wall. Like you're not getting past this defense. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's
pretty
sick.
crazy stat.
That's sick. But yeah, man, that's gotta pour one out for those boys out in PSG, and that's where I'll leave it.
Sweet. Well, beautiful. I love it, dude. Like we said, Fern is not here. He is somewhere else. But I think it would be a disservice to Fern and his fans if we don't at least bring up what potentially could have been his correct players, performances, games, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
We did mention it
guaranteed.
just barely. So with Fern being gone, we're going to assume that Fern's correct performance, correct game, and possibly even his pour one out, I don't know, probably not pour one out, is going to be Inter Miami and Lionel Messi.
Yep, guaranteed. We don't even
Gar-
gotta ask that man.
Exactly. We don't even got to ask him. It's probably already kind of a done deal. But if we kind of look into how they did this last, what was it, yesterday? I think, yeah, this was yesterday. This last game that they had, and they needed this game to kind of qualify for the round of 16. Inter Miami did play Palmeiras. They did end up tying 2-2. They had a goal from Allende as well as Suarez, which hats off to you, Suarez. Maybe that was his crack player because Suarez had a sweet goal to kind of give them that that go ahead, that 2-0 go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sweet game, very, very exciting. Inter Miami goes up 2-0. Palmeiras quickly turns around and gives them two more goals. So the first goal was in the 16th. Suarez scores in the 65th. And then, I mean, in 8 minutes, right? So Paulinho scores in the 80th, and then Mauricio scores in the 88th. So much drama there. It was pretty intense because not only that, but they had, so that was a tied game. And then when you look at the game that was also going on side by side, it's not Al Hilal. Who was it? It was Al Ali and Porto that were playing at the exact same time. And all four of these teams were in the same group. And then they ended up tying 4-4. So it was kind of a big, giant, crazy, like, oh, these guys are going forward. These guys are not. At one point, I think it was going to be Inter Miami Porto. And then all of a sudden, Al Ali, I don't know how to say it. They ended up tying, and then obviously Porto kind of comes down, but Palmeiras needs to score, and then Palmeiras scores, and then they tie, and it's like, holy crap, can they win this game? Like, such drama, so much drama. So have to kind of point that one out just in kind of like, Fern's favor there, as well as I think Messi scored the week, the game before that.
Yeah, with that nice free kick.
Yeah, on
Beautiful.
Thursday, June 19th against Porto. I mean, Messi's doing Messi things, man. He scores that free kick in the 54th minute against Porto to kind of give him that go-ahead, that win. I mean,
That's why, like, I can't, bro. Like, I can't be surprised anymore. Whenever I see it now, and like he's going up for a free kick, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a goal, and it ends up going in. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's just go activities there, man. Go activities from the man.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people, I know we put out a poll on the Instagram and TikTok before this game just to kind of see what kind of people were thinking in terms of who you thought would win in the Inter Miami versus FC Porto game. And it was pretty even. It was almost 50-50. I think some people obviously kind of like said, okay, like Inter Miami, let's go with Inter Miami. They have Lionel Messi, you never know. But there was a good chunk of people that were thinking, okay, no way Porto loses this game. And I mean, if you look at the stats, 50% for possession, 6 total shots for Miami, 14 for Porto, and then 2 big chances created for Porto and only 1 for Inter Miami. So pretty intense game on that Thursday. So pretty crazy that they can kind of get the win off of that, and then clearly tying against Palmeiras to kind of get out of the group. So hats off to, Inter Miami, hats off to Lionel Messi and the ear biter, Luis Suarez, for a sweet goal. Good for you.
That man loves his ears, bro. But yeah, we'll see, man. Fern says he might be down to live stream that PSG Inter Miami game this Sunday. Could be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
we'll have to check it out. If you guys want to see a live stream, if you guys want to see us kind of get all together, show ourselves kind of reacting to some of these games. If y'all are interested in that, let us know. Hit us in the comments, and we'll kind of see what we can do, what we can put together. Maybe just one game, maybe a couple games here and there. But we'd be happy to do it. I mean, we love watching games. We love hanging out. So let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Crack one open with us.
Heck, oh, I love that. Let our cracked heads crack one open with us while we watch a game. Bang.
Bang, bang.
Nice. So that is the correct performances. I always love kind of going over those and checking out some of the best games and best players. But going right into our headlines, looks like, I mean, like we mentioned, not a lot of MLS action. Everything was just kind of paused, so we didn't have a lot to kind of go over from them. But if we kind of look into what was on everybody's minds, the Gold Cup, as well as the Club World Cup and a couple other things here and there. Let's start with the Gold Cup here, because I think it's something that, is just kind of weighing on everybody's minds. So let's kind of look into some of these little, stats, and just to kind of chit chat real quick about some of these things too. I've seen a couple of things here and there. Attendance is low. In the last episode, we kind of discussed some stuff, politically, all these other things, right? We don't want to get too deep into any of those. Yes, is that being affected because of, things going on? Yes, we've already kind of mentioned that. Is it hot as hell out here right now in the United States, in like California, Florida, a couple other places? Absolutely. Like, it's very hot. It's the summer. It's hot, right? But, a lot of people have been mentioning, such low attendance for some of these games. Ain't nobody going. I think some of these games are being played at weird times, as well as some of the Club World Cup games. Like, they're being played on like a Monday, a Tuesday at like noon or 1 or 2 or 3. Like, y'all got to remember, people work. Like, we can't just, not work and then just go watch a game just because, we feel like it. Yes, maybe some people have some PTO, but not everybody does. So interesting there. A couple of like things here and there about that. I'm curious, have you seen that? Have you been seeing people kind of saying, hey, empty stadiums, what are you guys going to do?
Like I said, man, only time will tell. Like, all those points that you called out are like, yeah, like that's facts. Like, who's going to be able to make it to a game at 2 p.m.? Who's going to be able to like do these things and take the time out of their schedule? End of the day, right? Like, I'd be interested to see how it compares to maybe some of these other countries when the similar things happen. It'd be cool to live in like somewhere where whenever a big game happens, right, they like the whole town takes the day off, or the whole country. That's friggin' sick. But and people work out here. It is that lower attendance. Yeah, like Reyes was mentioning, there's definitely many other factors that we talked about last episode impacting this, and that we'll see how this continues to develop altogether. But yeah, as far as the attendance goes, though, like, we'll see as we go into I think you mentioned it, the round of 16. We'll see if attendance does pick up. That's when stuff tends to get like a little bit more interesting. More people maybe get a little bit more invested. Maybe are willing to spend a little bit more money on these games, especially seeing that, like, hey, this is still a pretty big tournament. At the end of the day, if you really think about it, the Club World Cup and the Gold Cup, right? Like, both like have been seeing a little bit less attendance, whatever. But like, as these competitions heat up, as these teams continue to show up and the tournament continues, the plot thickens, if you will. We will see if fans will continue to show up. But if like we're getting to the final and we're still seeing empty stadiums, I think that that's like a symptom of something greater that we could definitely have a bigger conversation around. But we'll see what that ends up being. But I really thinking about it, I think it's going to pick up the further we get into these tournaments. So yeah,
I agree. And I mean, that's just it, right? That's just kind of the nature of kind of how this goes. Everybody kind of wants to watch a semifinal. They want to watch a final, right? Like, no disrespect to like any of these teams, any of these countries, but like specifically with the Gold Cup, you kind of look at some of these games. On a Tuesday, at 6:15, which technically it's after the workday. But on a Tuesday at 6:15 in California, you had a Curacao versus El Salvador. At the end of the day, it drew 0-0. But like, No offense, but I don't think a lot of people are going to go watch a Curacao versus El Salvador. They're probably going to wait to see a U.S. versus Mexico, a Mexico versus Canada, Canada versus Panama, like things like that, right? So, I think it will also pick up. This Gold Cup has been just a little bit interesting, kind of just to kind of kick things off. But again, give us some more time here. People will be excited. More things to come. So we'll kind of keep an eye on kind of how the attendance progresses. The biggest little drama story, and I feel like this is just the only team that's really kind of having somewhat of a drama in the Gold Cup, is just kind of the U.S. men's national team, right? It's a little bit interesting, and it's not, we knew this going in, and I think you were actually absent in the episode we kind of discussed this, but the U.S. men's national team, this tournament for the Gold Cup, looks very different than what we're normally used to seeing, right? We're usually, seeing a Pulisic, we're seeing a Weston McKennie, we're seeing a couple other players that are typically on the roster, and they're not in the roster for the Gold Cup, right? They kind of had the whole thing of like, hey, we're going to sit this one out. We're super tired from, playing in Europe and all the tournaments we've been in. So we're going to sit the Gold Cup out. And they had a lot of how could you do that? You want to play for your country. You want to, represent. Messi's almost 40 years old and he hasn't skipped a beat. You know what I mean? Like, just so much flack on the U.S. men's national team. And now they've won 3 games. They won their 3 group stage games, which at the end of the day, that's kind of what you expect, right? They beat Trinidad 5-0. They beat Saudi Arabia 1-0, and then they just recently beat
Haiti.
Was it Haiti? Yeah, Haiti
2-1.
Oh, good on them for doing that, right? I think a lot of people will kind of say, okay, great, they won. That's what we want. That's what we expected. Now the real test is okay, everybody, you kind of expect them to get out of the group stage. Can you now make it to the final? Which at the end of the day, everybody's going to judge them based off of whether they go to the final or not. So what do you think, man? What do you kind of, just kind of with me explaining that, what do you think about in this U.S. men's national team? Do you think these new young bucks that are kind of being called up, you think they're performing well? What kind of grade would you give the U.S. men's national team? What do you think kind of with this team?
I don't know, man. Based on their performances, like you said, it hasn't been anything absolutely mind blowing where it's them beating Costa Rica or some of these or Mexico, right? Even some of these teams that are expected to do a little bit better, like you mentioned, Mexico's been performing pretty a solid enough performance. If we're comparing the United States performance to that, right? I would say United States is right around they're maybe an A- B+ territory as well. From what we're seeing right now, I'd be damn impressed, right, if we're seeing a 4-1 Haiti game, if we're seeing a 3-0 Saudi Arabia, we're yes, these are still professionals, but if we're talking about these players playing at a caliber that's just yes, these guys are elite. I don't know. But at the same time, I think they're performing significantly better than anybody could have imagined, right? Not imagined, but what people expect to see from them, but they're performing, I feel, better than most people expect this, even with all of that stuff I just called out here.
Yeah, exactly.
But the real test, man, like you said, Costa Rica. We'll see how they perform here on Sunday. It'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be interesting, right? So far in the CONCACAF Gold Cup, we've had 4 teams confirm and punch their ticket into the round of 16. We have the U.S., Costa Rica, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia, the 4 teams that are going to be going on into the next round. As you can see right here on the screen, you have the U.S. taking on Costa Rica on June 29th, and then you have Mexico playing Saudi Arabia on June 28th. I believe that's 28. Yep. And so right now, as we talk, as we're speaking again, we mentioned, there's some games going on right now. I think when we're kind of looking at, okay, who else can kind of make it, you're probably going to be looking at, and let's just kind of pull this up too, just to kind of see where the tables are looking. I think you can very confidently say that, you can probably see a Canada go in there. Honduras, I believe, is playing right now, but I also think they're also someone that can possibly go through. And then a Panama, Guatemala, I think these 2 are pretty much clearly going to go through. I do believe, is Guatemala playing Jamaica right now?
No, Guatemala played Guadeloupe today, and they've won 3-2.
Oh, they did. They already won. Oh,
Yeah, they
okay,
already
yeah.
won.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, it's already updated. Yeah, so it looks like they're going to go through. Same with Panama. So we'll probably see Panama, Guatemala, Canada, and Honduras going into the next rounds there. So good on for them. Looks like this will be interesting because Honduras and Curacao, they are playing. Are they playing today or when are these two
Honduras and
playing?
Curacao is
Oh, it is today, 8 o'clock.
that's
So
ocho.
this will be the game to watch because it's 3 points and 2 points. And so if Curacao obviously wins, then they, will
Advance.
jump up to second. If Honduras wins, they'll jump up. But really, no. Well, and I mean, I don't think El Salvador is going to beat Canada, unfortunately. Sorry, John, if you're listening to this, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Probably not.
Canada will likely win that game. But this one right here, Honduras Curacao, I mean, the fate is in their hands, right? Whoever wins basically will go through. So that'll be a fun one. Honduras Curacao. We'll see what happens in the next round here. But
What do you
super
think, man?
cool little
Like,
things.
what do you think though? Can the U.S. beat Costa Rica? Can Mexico beat Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I
Arabia.
think so. I think honestly, kind of watching both of these teams, I think the U.S. men's national team's been playing very well. I too would give them like a B plus kind of a rating. I do like that. And the third game, you had two guys. I think it was Luna and Sebastian Berhalter. I believe they had yellow cards, so they kind of sat them out for that third game. Just kind of hanging on to them, like, hey, we need you guys for the rest of the tournament. Let's not be too crazy. And their defenders, I think it was Tillman as well as who's the other guy here? Tillman and it wasn't Sullivan. It was somebody Richards. I believe it's a Richards. Yeah, Tillman and Richards have been playing very well for him. I mean, Tillman has 3 goals right now. Richards has 1 goal. Augumang has 2 goals, which is awesome. And then Aronson with 1 goal and an assist. So I think they've been playing
That's
super
sick.
well. What'd you say?
I said that's sick. The love's being shared. All of them are
Yeah,
getting some goal points out there.
exactly. Yeah, and then Tolkien too obviously has an assist too. I think he just left. I think he left the Red Bulls and now he's playing. Yeah, he's playing somewhere else. Holstein Kiel. I don't know where that is, but he used to be with the Red Bulls. But yeah, this team is just kind of like, hey, there's really not just one guy that we're kind of focusing on or kind of, expecting to kind of get us out of situations. I think this team is playing very, team-based soccer. None of them has like a really low rating whatsoever right now. I do believe Costa Rica is going to be a very tough test for them. And I think if they can beat Costa Rica, there shouldn't be any reason that they can't make it to the finals, likely against the Mexico, right? This U.S. national team, I think it's cool to see, man. I think Pochettino, everybody kind of gives him some flack for kind of what he's doing, who he's playing, who he's not playing, the whole beef with the goalie situation with Freese as well as like Turner, like that whole thing. But man, I mean, we've had this before. Just let the guy cook. Let him do what he's doing. Let him figure it out. Let him see kind of who he can take to the World Cup again, next year. Let him take this tournament to kind of build some of these, potential starters as well as some backups to these other guys that are not on the team right now. And like, just let him go. Like, let him do what he's doing. Like, I get it. We have to make news out of something, but like, just watch them. You know what I mean? So, yes, U.S. men's national team, I 100% believe they can make it to the final as long as they can get past Costa Rica. Mexico, yeah, they've been good too. I mean, let me see. I don't think they've lost. They tied against Costa Rica, which is the only one that they really had there, right? But I mean, they beat the DR, they beat Suriname. Jimenez or both Jimenez's have been playing super well. Alexis Vega has been playing very well. Alvarez has been playing pretty good. So, I mean, they're a good team too. I don't know. how to feel always about Mexico, though. You know what I mean? Because
They're also not very good. Sometimes very good.
yeah,
Sometimes they very much disappoint you and crush your soul and let you be depressed for a while. But you know what? That's what they do.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I always want, either the U.S. or Mexico to make it to something, like to either win. I'm always going to root for those two
For sure.
teams, right? But yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Mexico, right, is it's always like, okay, people can hype them up with what they've won in the past and all these other things, but like at the end of the day, I think the biggest, the what is it? The biggest enemy, hardest. The only person that can really beat Mexico, I think, is Mexico. You know what I mean? So they have some great players. They have some really good, um, chemistry within that team. And I think as long as they don't get in their head, as long as they don't, get frustrated, and don't want to like really compete or kind of lose some steam, I think that's how they lose. So, but I don't think so. I have the U.S. and Mexico going to the final.
That'd be great. That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, so I like that one. But yeah, Gold Cup gonna be super exciting to watch. I like watching it too, but like you mentioned, it's gonna heat up very very fast. So we'll kind of keep track of those games. Going into the next little bit too here, the Club World Cup. We've mentioned this a couple different times here already. But the Club World Cup, there was a pretty interesting article that I kind of wanted to look at here, because it was kind of one of those articles where you look at and you're like, dang, like they've kind of pinpointed like a lot of different things in this article, and they've kind of mentioned like, hey, what league at the end of the day is better, right? Because yes, this is a tournament of the best teams kind of coming together, the best leagues coming together, and like saying, okay, who's the best team out of all of us? You know what I mean? So here's a little fun little article to kind of look at that I saw from our friend, from ESPN. It says right here, here's what we've learned from the Club World Cup thus far. The Bundesliga is a lot better than the Northern League of New Zealand, right? The Portuguese league is also better than the New Zealand's league, but not by as much, and is also worse than the MLS. But the MLS is worse than the Tunisian league, which is funny because yes, they did lose to Esperance or whatever, however you say the name. But then it says the Tunisian league is worse than the Brazilian league. But that's nothing to worry about because the Brazilian league is better than the Premier League and the Champions League. Because the Brazilians have been showing up. They've beat the Champions League winner and they've been beating Premier League teams, which is nuts. And then it says, as for the Saudi Pro League, Spanish La Liga, the Serie A, and Liga, and the Mexico's Liga MX, they're all pretty much at the same level. So that first paragraph I just thought was hilarious because yes, like there's just been so many different things that have been going on in the Club World Cup and like these teams kind of beating each other out. It's been fun to watch. I've loved it. People can say what they want about like, oh, the fan draw and all these other things. Like, yes, it's a debate to be had, but dang, man, like, what do you think about this, dude? This has been fun. I think it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy because I remember looking at how the Liga MX teams were doing, right, with Monterrey. And Monterrey has been holding their freaking own in this, like, in these games, man. If we go back and look at the Club World Cup with some of these Monterrey games, well, let me pull them up quick.
Yeah, I can pull it up too here.
Like, just some very interesting results, like, throughout. Ooh, they played the Urawa Reds, bro. I should have watched one of those games while I was out in Japan, but we did not.
They're Japan, aren't they?
Yeah, Urawa Reds. The Urawa Reds is what I assume.
Urawa Reds. Yes.
Reds.
Urawa Red Diamonds. Nice. Yes.
And so, but yeah, dude, Monterrey tying with Inter, tying with River Plate, losing
wow,
to
really?
yeah.
Okay.
Like just some
tied both. Okay.
Yeah, just like holding their freaking own. Like they're not like, again, spectacular. Like it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, these guys are like absolutely like everything. But they've been holding their own. It's been fun to see. But going back to like the whole picture here, very fun to watch. Very fun to see these Brazilian teams pop off. I mean, we called them out here on my cracked teams this week, and even for my pour one out, them beating PSG. Right, like Brazil came to play. They came to show what's just like watching fun football is, bro. They're just making it very fun to watch, and so rather than it being what everybody would expect, right, with some of these other leagues
Right.
just absolutely dominating, which some are, but for the most part, like some aren't, and that's been crazy
Mm-hmm.
to see. But yeah, been
Yeah.
definitely a fun tournament. I'm excited to continue to see how this one shakes out and how it continues to heat up. Like we've been talking about this and the Gold Cup. As the plot thickens, we'll continue to see some more just great soccer all around.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. And I think, yes, it's been getting a lot of hype. I think like it's been so on social media everywhere. And just for like context, right? I feel like I've had to explain certain things and I always kind of think about it, right? My family, so my in-laws, they're not the biggest soccer fans, okay? They're very much like NFL, football, basketball, a little bit of baseball here and there. Like they're very big fans of that, right? And so sometimes when I'll start watching games, they'll come over to my house. I'll start watching some games, and they like are always asking me like, okay, hey, like who are these teams? Like what league do they play in? Right? They're always like, what the heck's going on? And I try to explain like very easily, like, oh, like this is who they are, this is where they play, and they're like, so what does that compare to like the teams here, like the Major League Soccer? And so to kind of explain like the Club World Cup in like NFL terms, like, and this is also kind of goes with the way we explain the Champions League is like, imagine the NFL. Now imagine the NFL going and playing a tournament with the two best teams from Canada, from Mexico, from Italy, from Brazil, from a couple like basically countries from all over the world, and we're taking the two top teams, or at least two or three top teams of every country, and they're going to go into this one tournament in basically like this kind of a format, and whoever wins basically gets a ton of money and bragging rights for you're the best football soccer team in the world. Like that's kind of how you have to explain it, right? And I think once they kind of understand it in that context, they're like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's kind of fun to just kind of like see that and kind of explain this to them. But it's been, like you said, a very, very fun tournament, very fun to watch. As of right now, as of us recording this on Tuesday about 7:30, it looks like we will have, yes, Palmeiras, Inter Miami going on to the next round, PSG, Botafogo on to the next round, Benfica and Bayern, they will be going on to the next round. Um, Looks like these guys are playing, but I think Flamengo,
Yeah, they're tied right now, 0-0.
yeah, I think they're going to go through even if, Chelsea wins. I don't think, I mean, goal differential's 4. I think Flamengo's going to go, yeah, they're going to go either way. They're going to play Bayern.
Bayern.
Um,
That's a
it's either
tough
going to
one.
be Chelsea or Esperance. If Esperance somehow are they playing Chelsea?
Let me see. And then they're playing two. Oh yeah, no. Esperance is playing
Yeah.
Chelsea
They're
right now in
playing
the
Chelsea. Yo,
28
that's
minutes in,
nuts.
0-0. They're tied.
They're also fighting for their lives. So that's
That's a
crazy.
that's gonna be a fun one to go and put on after this, man. That's for
Dude.
sure.
Okay, Chelsea versus Esperance. Who will make it to the round of 16? Will the Premier League, a top Premier League team, make it to the round of 16? Or will Esperance, a Tunisia team, upset them and go to the round of 16?
Let's
Who
go
knows?
Tunisia. Let's go, baby. I love me a good underdog. Let's go.
Exactly. I would love to see that, honestly. It'd be kind of nuts to watch Esperance on to the next round. I don't know who they would play, but dang, that would be exciting. That would be kind of crazy to see. Lonely LAFC kind of just playing to play at this point. Yes, right here we also have these guys have only played these teams, but this one was another one. River Plate versus Inter. They're coming up here soon. I believe do they play. They don't play today, right? They play probably tomorrow. Let me. Yeah, tomorrow 7 p.m. Let's do a quick little River Plate versus Inter Milan for the Club World Cup. Whoever wins obviously goes into the round of 16. Going to be an exciting match, dude. That's another one. That's another good one. I mean, who who knows who's gonna win this game, or if one of these guys loses. So let's just say one of them lose, and then Monterrey beats this Urawa, then they could potentially go because that gives them 3. That gives them 5 points. Um, Yeah, Monterrey could go through. Who knows, man? This whole Group E is still kind of up in the air.
That's gonna be
Like
fun
you
to
mentioned,
see.
man, Monterrey.
Keep your eye on
Come
that
on,
one, man.
come on, Liga MX, let's go. So that one's a good one. Fluminense and Borussia Dortmund. What is this? Why do they have those logos on there? That's kind of weird. Oh, wait, they're playing different people. Gotcha. Okay, so these two also, Fluminense and Borussia Dortmund, likely going to win those games, so they'll probably go into the next round. The Group G, I mean, Juve and Manchester City couldn't have asked for a better group to be in because at this point, who really cares who wins this game? Because these two are
Going
100%
through.
in. Yeah, Juve and
Yeah.
Manchester City, and then yes, we have Real Madrid, Salzburg, Al Hilal, and Pachuca. Pachuca lonely 2 loss, so they can't really get in anymore. Yeah, but Al Hilal could upset a little bit here, and they could potentially get in just depending on. Let's see, they have to beat Pachuca, which they probably will. I mean, if Salzburg loses to Real Madrid, which Real Madrid is going to want to win, like they could bump up and go into that second spot. So, um, crazy, man. Club World Cup, dude. I mean, it's fun. It's exciting. I like it. I love to watch it. It's been a lot of fun watching these games. I think the best team right now, I mean, with an easy group, right? Juve and Manchester City. I don't think a lot of people are talking about these two. But if you look at them, I mean, look, 8-0, 9-1, like, goal differential is nuts with these two teams right now, given the group. But you never know what happens in round of 16. So
Sick. Sick.
yeah, and then just to mention too, I mean, and this was also brought up very quickly. We'll kind of go over it really quick too. But I mean, Inter Miami, the only MLS team that kind of get into the round of 16 for the MLS. So the question has been brought up: is Inter Miami the best MLS team right now? I'm curious. What do you think? What do you think, given everything that we've covered with all the teams right now in the MLS, with the Union, with the Crew, with Vancouver, with LAFC, like a lot of these top dogs, in the MLS that obviously are not in this tournament, but clearly they're very good teams. What do you think of that statement of Inter Miami being the best MLS team?
I think Messi is the best MLS team right now, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, man, I don't think Miami is the best MLS team. I don't. I think Vancouver still probably takes that title right now, in my opinion. That
Even when they choked against Cruz Azul?
even when they choked against Cruz Azul, I will hold on to that. But man, if Miami can miraculously just absolutely dominate, beat PSG, I will never say a bad thing about them again. I will just live in peace knowing that Miami is the best team in the MLS, hands down. We'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell. I still think Vancouver is one of those better teams. Inter Miami, depending on the week, right? I think that sometimes they're very, very, very good and that elite level of play, and sometimes they're just they're a good soccer team. No one can deny that. But we'll see how this Club World Cup goes, if they continue to just absolutely pull off some Messi magic, or if the team can just come out and Suarez can go by a couple more years or something. I don't know, man. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on these games.
Yeah, I mean, Inter Miami right now with the Club World Cup, clearly with these three teams, Seattle, LFC, Inter Miami, they're the best team. Okay, we got to give it to them. We got to give them the respect where respect is due. Do they need a better defense? 100%, absolutely. Their offense is not the issue. Messi, Suarez up top, the whole Fafa, everybody else up top, y'all are good. They're a great team. But y'all cannot defend. Well, y'all can sometimes defend, but typically it doesn't always last. So this team still needs help in the defense. I think, we're coming up on, I believe, in the next month or so, the second MLS transfer window. So for if I'm, running in Miami, you need to get somebody to kind of pick up this defense and kind of make sure this team can win the MLS Cup. So, is Inter Miami the best team in MLS right now? They're a great team. They're one of the best teams in the MLS right now. On any given day, they could obviously beat you, or they can lose to whoever, because it's been done. They've went on this hot streak at the beginning of the season, and then they lost. I think they lost, maybe tied a stretch of 4, 5, 6 games. So enough to where everybody was like, oh, Mascherano needs to go out. Miami's done. Like all these different things. So are they the best team right now? I don't think so. But time will tell. Only time will tell.
I'm excited to watch him continue this tourney, man. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly. Okay, cool. So that was the Club World Cup. Last little thing that we're kind of get into before we get into our picks. And the picks will be, a little interesting kind of given that Fern is out, but we'll kind of go through a couple of the games before we kind of share our picks on social media. But kind of before we get into that, the MLS All-Star Jerseys have been released. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at it, shall we? So here are the MLS All-Star Jerseys.
What are those?
What are those? I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, they're very minimalistic. I will say that. It's, very clean white, the green and the blue. I did see somebody on social media say, yo, why did we take Seattle Sounders warm-up jerseys as the MLS All-Star Game jerseys? So I thought that was pretty funny because, yes, it does mimic their colors quite a bit. But I think something that people ain't kind of looking into and kind of why they did it this way is if you kind of look at like the old MLS logo, which is right here, it's incorporating all of these colors, right? So it's the white, it's the green, it's the blue, it's the blacks here. So, kind of paying homage to the early logos, kind of putting those colors in there. And, given that it's the 30th season, that's kind of why they did it. Kind of cool little history there. But I'm curious, man. I mean, do you like it? Is it something that you're going to cop? Or is it something that you are just not going to buy? You're going to see these at TJ Maxx at some point, maybe.
Yeah, no, bro. You're gonna see these things these things are icy, man. They're icy as hell. But as an icy, I mean, they're gonna be getting cold on the shelves of a Marshall / TJ Maxx, bro. Nobody gonna be buying them shit. You're gonna be able to find these things at a discount. It's like I'm looking at some Reddit board comments here on this as well as we go on here, and there's a comment here that says Big forgot to do my homework, so I'm making a statement about existentialism and minimalism vibes going on here. And then this guy's like, oh hell yeah, can't wait to recycle my meme from last year. And it's like, this all-star kit makes the canvas kit look like an actual good design with lots of design elements.
Well, I'm curious here. Let me look this up. All MLS All-Star Jerseys. I'm curious if there's at least an image or something of all the jerseys they've had in the past.
That'd be interesting to see and compare, because overall it feels like people are just trolling to troll sometimes reading some of these comments.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But in my own personal opinion, being so for real right now, they're not bad, but it's if you're looking for something a little bit more fun, I guess what do the people want? What would your ideal jersey look like? For me, I don't know. Sometimes I like a good clean white on white, just simple colors, whatever. But then sometimes I like to be blown away by a jersey, and does this jersey blow me away? Nah, it's not that great. But is it a jersey? Yeah, it's absolutely a jersey.
Yeah, it's something, that's for sure. It's kind of interesting to see. You kind of look it up, and there's a lot of different ones. So they've definitely done a lot of different things here. Looks like, I think the previous ones, I remember a lot of it being with the Target logo. So I think Target has obviously been a big, sponsor here and there over the past, All-Star games. I don't know what they were thinking with this one. The black is okay. This giant AT&T logo, holy crap, guys! What the heck is going on? I mean, these are. Oh, here we go. MLS All-Stars kit history. There we go. Look at this. 2020, 2010. Okay, so this is the home kit. This is the goalkeeper, yellow. Okay, interesting. 2024. I don't know what they did. This was yo, what the heck is going on? Kind of going same with the yellow kit with the goalkeepers. 2023, not terrible. I won't say it's terrible, but there's a big giant Target logo on there. Okay, I get it.
Kills the vibes.
Yeah, kind of kills that. This was pretty clean. Get rid of the Target logo. I mean, you got to be able to take off these big sponsorships. Sometimes, you know what I mean? You do something a little bit better there. but that's pretty clean. 2022 is pretty clean.
It just makes it hard to look at for me. I don't know why. The Target logo, like on all of them, bro, on all of these jerseys, is just so big and imposing that it's like, what the, like, I would never buy that. That shit's getting cold in this Marshalls.
I mean, here's the thing: they've come a long way. Look at this. I mean, look at. I get it. Okay, cool. Stars and stripes and the Canada leaf. Like, okay, but okay, kind of. It's okay. It's not terrible. These goalie jerseys, like, jeez. Like this giant AT&T, this stripe. I mean, they've come a long way for sure. These are way older. I don't think I've seen one where I was like, yeah, I'd want that in my closet. Sierra Mist,
bro.
Dude, that goes hard. Maybe that's the best one so far.
You got some Pepsi.
That's pretty decent. It's not terrible. No, I mean, this is okay. East West, that's kind of okay. That's kind of cool. But I think, okay, they're not great. They're not good. I mean, this might be the best one that they've had. The 1996 Nike MLS. Those might be the best ones. But kind of went from going in through these. I don't think there's a single one that I'd be like, yeah, these are sick.
Like, bro, Adidas, you're taking an open note test, bro. Go look and see what's popular out there in some of these European leagues. Copy and paste. People here won't care. We'll love it. It'll be fun to see. I don't know. I feel like... Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm curious now to kind of see... You know what they got to... And here's the thing. I think the NFL... I wouldn't say they do a great job of it either, but I do like the way the NFL has, okay, everybody has their jersey, but then they have their individual team's helmet. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's cool. Why not incorporate that with the MLS? Like, something sleek, something nice, like do the white, do the black, do just all the same color, maybe some stripes, just some clean pinstripes or something like that. But then maybe have like the patch of their, their team on there somewhere. I think that would be pretty cool. That would be kind of nice. But I think right now, like from what I've seen, there's definitely not a MLS All-Star jersey that I've seen that I would want. So you're right. These ain't icy. I mean, these are icy. They ain't it. They're not it.
They ain't it, man.
So, anyways. But yes, we'll still try to kind of make it. Maybe we'll make it out to this game. We'll kind of see if y'all want to see us at the All-Star game, the MLS All-Star game. If y'all want to see the Correct Soccer podcast at the game, let us know in the comments. Hit us with the like, the share, subscribe. Let us know. Maybe we'll make it out. Let us know if you want to see. Now, to cap us off, that was basically all of the headlines that we had for the day. Let me kind of get into what we're all here for, right? The MLS, the Major League Soccer.
We are so back, baby.
We are
so back.
So back. Let's go ahead and check it out. We have a full slate here. So this will be a little bit interesting because the Club Cup is still going on and the Gold Cup is also still going on. So I believe there's about 44 players that are going to be absent because of the Gold Cup, because a lot of them are on the U.S. men's national team, on the Canadian national team, and a couple others here and there. So a lot of people that are going to be out. But going into, I believe it's match day 20 or 21 of the MLS regular season, tomorrow, Wednesday, June 25th, a full slate of games. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these games. What, just kind of at a glance here, PZ here, what are you looking at? What kind of stands out? What game are you most excited for?
From a strictly, like, let's see what these powerhouses are all about, right? We got in the Western Conference, Vancouver versus San Diego, number 1 and number 2 respectively, going at it this week. Like you mentioned, tons of players going to be out, but like we'll see how that they end up faring, man. San Diego FC has always ended up surprising me. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a dub here against Vancouver this week, but definitely will be a good one to keep an eye on just because Vancouver's in first place with 35 points and San Diego FC right behind them with 33 points.
Interesting.
It'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with you. I think this is probably going to be one of the better games to watch on Wednesday. Vancouver, yes, they will have, Sebastian Berhalter's out, White is out, Nelson is out. Like, a a lot of different people that are going to be out in this game, but I agree with you, right? I think San Diego can definitely pull off this win. Personally, I'm going to go with San Diego, even though they're going to be in Canada. It's going to be San Diego against potentially somewhat of a B team for Vancouver. So, I mean, San Diego, if you want to go get on top of the league or on top of the board of the Western Conference, now's the time.
It is
Strike right now.
time. Yeah, with you on that San Diego window for sure.
Sweet. So that one. Any others that stick out?
Would love to see some life come back from Atlanta United. Not seeing much of a pulse there, but if like Columbus Crew, I'm expecting them to take an easy win here. But deep down in my soul, I hope that some fire comes back into Atlanta, even in one of these weeks where some of their players may be missing. So. Not something that I would pay attention to too much. Not as exciting as that Vancouver game, but definitely one where I'm like, if Atlanta United comes out to play, we could see a pretty like high scoring game where one can hope, but not holding my breath.
Yeah, for sure. No, exactly. And Atlanta coming off of 2 scoreless games, potentially could be a tough one for Atlanta. They will be in Columbus. So I don't know, kind of a tough one. I'll probably take the Columbus Crew on this one as well. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta, you got to show some life at this point. If not, it's too far into the season for them to be like, hey, we don't have to show up every single game. So, could be another exciting one to watch. I don't believe LAFC is going to be playing. I believe this 7:30 game with RSL is likely not going to happen because they are playing today. So I don't think LAFC is playing this one. But kind of looking at this at a glance too, I think one that, some people maybe are kind of looking over. Chicago Fire versus Philadelphia Union. I think this could potentially be a pretty good game to watch. Clearly, Philadelphia Union being a very strong, team in the Eastern Conference. But Chicago, I mean, they show life every once in a while, right? I mean, they beat DC United 7-1. They beat Orlando 3-1. They beat New England 3-1. But then, every once in a while, like I mentioned, they'll lose. They lost to New York City FC, lost to Nashville. Can they get it done against, I believe, the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference?
Yes, sir.
Can Chicago get it done against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference right now? It's going to be a tough game, but if you're going to do it now because, I don't believe there's too many people that are going to be out on either of these teams, but Chicago Fire, strike while it's hot. It's going to be on your home turf. Take it to them, get some points here, and take it to Philadelphia. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with Chicago Fire winning this one. Hopefully, sending the Union. So we'll see.
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I don't even know because I want to believe. You gave me that was inspiring as hell. But I'll have to make that decision here in game time.
There you go. Okay. Well, sounds good, man. I mean, that's kind of like some of the good games that'll be going on tomorrow. Some pretty good games there. Most of them, obviously, towards the end of the day. And then we do have a full slate on Saturday, June 28th. Looking at this one again at a glance, looks like the Inter Miami game will not be happening there. But yeah, let's see. I believe most of these other games will be going down. So at a glance, what are you seeing? What stands out? What are you looking forward to on Saturday with the MLS?
I don't know, man. That San Jose Earthquakes versus LA Galaxy game looks quite enticing. I will not even lie to you. We're seeing again left cheek versus right cheek. Nothing too impressive to see here, but we'll see the battle of the nalgas, how this will play out. Now, in all seriousness, I just wanted to throw some more shade here at LA Galaxy. San Jose catching some strays here, but no hate to them as much as my dislike for LA Galaxy and my reveling in their defeats week over week. So, except against Real Salt Lake, when they did me dirty and broke my heart. So even more reason to hate them.
I know, right? That was tough. It was hard to call that one, but yeah, we kind of saw it in the writing on the wall for that one to come for sure. Yeah, man, I think, like you mentioned, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one here. Can LA Galaxy get back on track? Is now the time for them to strike? They couldn't get it done against St. Louis, but can they beat the San Jose Earthquakes that technically they have the best offense in the MLS, the highest scoring offense in the MLS, but they lose a lot of these games that they should be winning, right? They lose against St. Louis. They tied against the Dynamo. They tied against Portland. So they've been, good here and there. The last time these two met was what 3 or so match days ago, and San Jose only beat them 1-0. So
And
could go either way. I don't think it happens. I'm taking San Jose, but it can definitely happen. I think Paintsill needs to figure his shiz out and finish and have some good passes, but I don't think it happens during against San Jose.
yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. Both teams are gonna be playing a little bit tired here in this game. San Jose versus LA Galaxy, both with both teams playing tomorrow and Saturday.
Mhm.
So we'll see who gets a little bit more rested and rejuvenated. But I'm with you on that one. I can't cheer on LA Galaxy at this point in time. They have to show me a little bit more life. So give me San Jose in that one.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. So with that one, I mean, there's quite a few other games that I think are pretty interesting. This Orlando City versus FC Cincinnati game could be one that you can kind of look into. I think both of these teams are relatively high up in the Eastern Conference. So you have Orlando in fifth, FC Cincinnati in second. So those could be, that can be a pretty, nice game to kind of watch. They're not perfect, right? But they are going to be in Florida for this game. So I do think this is a potential where Orlando could get the win and they could stun Cincinnati here. I'm hoping for it. Maybe Orlando can get it done, but this is also one where I'm like, hey, this is a pretty decent game. So we'll kind of see what happens with this one. Not sure if you have thoughts on this one.
No, like I think Orlando City, man, is going to be taking out St. Louis and Cincinnati. In my own personal opinion, Orlando's been looking pretty good these last couple of games here. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game to watch. I think. Let me see, pulling up some stats. Google has the win probability for Orlando City 46 and Cincinnati 27% and a draw 27%. So we'll see if Google and I are correct this week
Interesting.
here with
There you
Orlando
go. Yeah, we'll
thinking.
see. And then the last one I'll call out. I'm going to have to call this one out. Seattle Sounders versus Austin FC. Seattle with a 0-3 showing at the Club World Cup. All three of them also being at Lumen Field. And look, the people of Seattle are going to be lucky. They're getting a fourth game with Seattle at Lumen Field against Austin FC, which has clearly been playing very, very well. Seattle right now sitting at, where are they sitting? Sitting in sixth in the Western Conference. So they're playing an Austin team that is right behind them, hot on their heels in seventh. So, can they turn it around here after losing 3 games in the Club World Cup? I have a hard time seeing it, to be honest with you. I don't know if they can get it done, but this one's up in the air, man. I don't even, I'm not going to call it right now. I'm going to send this one. But what do you think, man? I mean, this is 4 games in a row that people of Seattle are getting with Seattle Sounders. So what do you think?
I think that Austin can do it, man. I think that Austin can keep Seattle down in the dumps here in this game. Uh, I'm going to be calling it right now. I was just looking at some of this that's going on here, but Peter just froze. I know it's a big reach. I know that it's definitely me picking one of the underdogs here in this game. I think Seattle probably has the easiest route to win this. But I don't know, man. Like when the gut speaks, I listen to the gut. It's telling me Austin FC could maybe pull some magic here in a little bit of a wonky week with a couple of these different tournaments going on. So give me Austin.
Got it. Beautiful. Well, that's perfect, man. That's a lot of games on Saturday, but clearly the big one, the nice the nice day of the weekend to kind of watch some soccer. Sunday, June 29th, we have a doubleheader. We have the Columbus Crew taking on Philadelphia Union, and for Sunday night soccer, LAFC versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Gonna be good, man. I mean, I think Columbus Crew versus Philly can really kind of go either way. 4 o'clock in Columbus, going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to kind of depend, I feel, on kind of what happens tomorrow on the Wednesday games. But can Columbus go 2-0 this week, and beat Philadelphia Union at the end of the week? Is going to be tough, but an exciting game nonetheless. I will probably give it to Columbus. What do you think?
To Columbus. That's
Yeah.
bold. That's
Yeah,
bold,
I
my
think
friend.
so. I think so.
I'm gonna go with Philly, man. Like I gotta pick, once you're on top, and they've been feasting. Hopefully, they can continue that feast there in Philly, um, as they've been going. Like, look at those stats there: 2-1 against Charlotte, draw with Dallas, 1-2 against Toronto, draw with Inter Miami. So they're a good team, man. I can't
Yeah.
can't can't root against them on this one, so I'll go with Philly for that Sunday afternoon soccer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Tyber out. Sullivan on the U.S. men's national team is going to be out. So, bit of an interesting game for sure. Like I said, I'm going to go Columbus, but will be an interesting one for sure. And then to cap us off for Sunday night soccer, LAFC versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. Can LAFC get back on track? Depending on how they do today, they've been 0 for 2 in the Club World Cup, potentially 0 for 3 in the Club World Cup. Can they turn around against a Vancouver team that's likely going to still have, some guys out? Because on this same day, I believe the U.S. will take on Costa Rica in the Gold Cup. So likely still a lot of teams that are going to be out for Vancouver, and they're going to be playing in Los Angeles. So curious, man, what your thoughts are on this one. Nathan Ordaz is out with a concussion right there, but not a lot of people out for LAFC. But what do you think?
I don't know, man. Keeping an eye on how they're doing right now. It's almost 8 o'clock here, Mountain Time, with LAFC and Flamengo tied 0-0. I think like LFC is a good team, and like you mentioned, there's not a lot of people that they're missing. Just with all the players that you called out there in Vancouver going to be out in international duty. I think LAFC does have a little bit of an edge here, and they're a good team. Like again, at the end of the day, like any team can beat them any given Sunday. They are currently 5th in the Western Conference, so definitely have dropped down a little bit here as we've continued the season, but still got some great talent there in LA. And I think that they could be a less powerful Vancouver Whitecap team. So should be an
Yeah,
interesting one to watch.
for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I think LAFC can definitely take this one. If they want to climb the ranks, if they want to climb the Western Conference, strike while the iron's hot, right? This team's not going to be at full strength, so give it to them. Can Vancouver go 0 for 2 this week? We'll see. Going to be interesting for sure. But that's our picks. We'll kind of get those out here soon, as soon as our friend Fern is back from his nice long drive. But we'll kind of get the picks out on social media. We'll get some other stuff going as well to kind of share with all of you. We haven't forgotten about the World Cup. Clearly, we'll kind of continue to cover that here in the coming weeks as we kind of get further along, as we have more qualifiers kind of come up. But yeah, we'll in the meantime, we'll just stay focused on the MLS, the Club World Cup, the Gold Cup, and kind of give you guys, our best analysis of what's going down. So that is the picks. That is it for the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode 19. My guy, Chino Lopez Peasy, any final words from you, my guy?
As always, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see more of, less of. Whatever you guys want to see, we're happy to oblige and bring it into the podcast, because at the end of the day, we love doing this and we'd love to hear what y'all are thinking.
Exactly.
But signing out.
Nice.
See you next week.
Exactly. So we will, signing out. We will do what we got to do. Like, subscribe, share with everybody. Thank you all that kind of watch us, that have been supporting us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If y'all want to see some live streams, y'all want to see us go to some games, let us know. Let us know in the comments. But again, this has been the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode 19. Thank y'all. Peace.